Hello and welcome to Access Asia. Coming up, it's a tale of two countries. China and India have two of the world's biggest populations and are also two of the worst polluters. One has made progress trying to clean up its act while the other has stalled. Over 40% of children in Pakistan suffer from stunted growth, a condition that can have long-term health effects but also economic consequences. We'll meet some of the families that have been touched. And it's a singing scandal in China. A Taiwanese rock band denies lip-syncing at a concert, an offense that could see it pay a fine or even be banned in the country. Leaders, scientists, and activists all in Dubai for the COP28 climate conference. Earlier this month, it was reported that the world pumped more heat-trapping carbon dioxide into the air than last year, largely due to increased pollution from China and India. The world's two biggest populations are also number 1 and 3 on the list of the world's biggest polluters. But one has made significant progress towards cleaning up its act. Charlie James reports.
India and China. Both nations have struggled with air pollution in their major cities, but only one has succeeded in addressing the issue. Last year, 39 of the world's 50 most polluted cities were in India. 2 were in China.
Breathing becomes difficult because of pollution. My eyes burn. The public is worried, I'm worried, everyone is worried about why pollution is spreading in Delhi.
6 years ago, China accounted for about 3/4 of the world's most polluted cities. The government tackled the issue with a nationwide plan and dedicated $270 billion. China restricted the number of cars on the road in Beijing, Shanghai, and other major cities. It put new limits on coal-fired power plants and emissions-heavy iron and steel industries. The result? Air pollution declined more than 42% from 2013 to 2021. But India's air crisis is not a priority for its government, and that's a problem for the health of India's 1.4 billion residents. A recent study found air pollution kills more than 2 million Indians per year. The impact is especially acute for poor people, many of whom work outside.
There is a contrast in the air pollution impact across diverse socioeconomic ranges. Poor people cannot afford those personal mitigation measures, like, even they cannot afford masks or purifier is completely out of reach.
India's air pollution is mostly caused by a mix of industrial emissions, vehicle fumes, and smoke from crop burning. Big improvements would require big changes, limiting cars in cities or changing farming patterns. So far, there isn't the public demand or the political will needed to clean up India's air.
Meanwhile, there's growing concern for children in the world's 5th most populated country. The World Bank recently reported that more than 40% of children under the age of 5 in Pakistan suffer from stunted growth. That can mean long-term physical and economic consequences for millions of boys and girls. This report from our team on the ground.
On the pediatric floor of Jamshoro Regional Hospital, children are being treated for severe malnutrition. Their weight is much less than it should for their age. If left untreated, they risk being stunted in their growth, a condition which affects 40% of children under the age of 5 in Pakistan.
This baby was not breastfed properly. She was breastfed for only 2 months and then fed goat's milk. She is 11 months old. Her weight is 3 kilograms, which corresponds to her birth weight. She has no muscle mass. The ribs have become very prominent and the skin is loose and wrinkled, meaning there is no more fat in the body due to malnutrition. The fat has dissolved.
This child is looked after by her aunt because her mother recently gave birth to another child.
We are poor and we cannot afford to feed our children. Her father is the only one who works. He has to take care of 8 children, his wife and me. And with inflation, it's really difficult for him to provide for everyone. Some days we eat well, and other days we're hungry.
The province of Sindh has the highest number of malnourished children in the country. Most of the inhabitants of this village are undernourished, like Mohabbat and his wife.
This is the pantry where we keep our food. It's empty. We only have sugar, no flour. For tonight, I'll buy rice from the store and ask them for a loan, even if I already have debt to pay off.
The couple experienced stunted growth as children, and now they suffer the consequences such as physical weakness and decreased productivity.
We only eat once a day in the evening. There's nothing left to eat in the house. My job is physically demanding, and I also have to fetch water from outside the village. I have aches. I feel very tired, and I have to take breaks after each physical exertion.
The economic ramifications of undernutrition totals up to $7.6 billion annually for Pakistan, a nearly 3% loss in GDP.
Stunted growth in children under 5, combined with poor education for girls and not meeting basic healthcare needs, these factors drag down the growth and development of the country. I don't see Pakistan having quick and sustained development over decades without progress being made in these areas.
For several years, the rate of growth stunting in Pakistan has been one of the highest in the world. The government's effort to tackle it remain insufficient.
China and Taiwan have poor political relations, and now musically, a recent concert appears to have struck a chord. After a viral video, popular Taiwanese band Mayday has denied allegations of lip-syncing. Lip-syncing is prohibited in China and carries with it stiff penalties. Authorities have announced an investigation. For more, we can speak to Fabian Kretschmer, a journalist based in Beijing. Hello to you, Fabian. First of all, can you tell us how all of this began in the first place?
Yeah, the scandal erupts around a rock band called Mayday. They are from Taiwan. I would say that not many people know the band outside of East Asia, but here in China, they are huge stars. I mean, really superstars. Their hits have hundreds of millions of streams. And recently they had a concert tour, and during one of their concerts here in Shanghai, a popular live streamer analyzed the audio recording and basically claimed that at least on 5 of those songs, the singer was not using his real voice, but was lip-syncing, so used a recording. And that actually in China is punishable by law.
This law, though, it's something that many of us around the world might not be familiar with, lip-syncing not usually being something that the authorities would look into. What more can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, the entertainment system here, basically the industry works after its own rules, and it's very special, highly regulated, has been for years. But 2 years ago, the Association for Performing Arts issued 25 new guidelines, new rules, and that many of them are political. For example, it says as an artist, you have to be patriotic, you have to follow the law, you cannot change the songs of your playlist that you want to perform during your show. And one of those laws also says you are not allowed to lip sync. Why? The rationale behind is you're basically deceiving your fans. They pay for your concert. You're a professional singer. So it is, quote unquote, more healthy if you also use your own voice for singing.
And yet I've seen reports that lip syncing isn't uncommon in China. Why has this become such a big story?
Yeah, the enforcement of this law is very random, I would say. And you might expect that there's a political component of this story because the band is from Taiwan, and China and Taiwan, they have very difficult relations. But actually, I didn't find so much evidence. I found really that a lot of fans are genuinely disappointed. Here's a big public sentiment of the fans. They say that, okay, those artists, they earn millions and millions of dollars, and they are professional. We expect them to sing and use their real voice. And then there's the other half of the fans who basically have a different opinion. They go to the concert for enjoying a party and enjoying the atmosphere, and they say that this rule actually doesn't make much sense. So there's a big debate about it, and still the investigation is ongoing, and we have to see what the investigation will find, whether those claims are true or not.
All right, Fabian, thank you very much. Fabian Kretschmer reporting from Beijing. And finally, if you don't know about the khaki persimmon, the time may be ripe. The fruit was almost completely unknown in Europe 10 years ago, and today one can regularly find it on supermarket shelves. It's rich in fiber, vitamins A and B, and many say it's delicious, but its uses go beyond to pleasing the palate. Some say it's a miracle fruit. Take a look.
A few kilometers from Mount Fuji, trees in Yamanashi Valley get a flush of orange at the end of autumn. Harvest is well underway at this family farm. Kakis have been grown here for 3 generations.
We haven't even picked half of them. And we need to hurry. Otherwise, the kaki gets too soft, too juicy, and it gets squished.
At 80 years old, this Japanese woman works 8 hours a day, picking the fruit, also known as persimmon or Sharon fruit, from the trees. She says it's the secret behind her good form.
There's a saying, as soon as the kaki turn orange, the doctors go pale. That means as long as we eat the fruit, we don't go to the doctors.
This grandmother picks more than 700 kaki in an hour. That's 60 kilos. After that, her daughter-in-law takes charge.
First, this machine takes off the first layer. Then that one over there peels the fruit completely.
Once peeled, the fruit is left to dry for 6 weeks, during which it loses up to 80% of its original weight. According to folklore, suspending the fruit protects Japanese people from bad spirits.
The house was built especially for drying kakis. It's south-facing.
Japan is one of the biggest producers of kaki, along with China and South Korea. The country produces 188,000 tons a year. In Tokyo, you can find the fruit everywhere in autumn. There are even kaki-themed supermarket stands. Rich in vitamin A, C and minerals, it's a staple in most fruit bowls in Japan and is also increasingly used in saucepans as a cooking ingredient.
We add kaki to our bolognese sauce. It goes well with pork and it softens the taste.
It's been a part of Japanese diet for more than 2,000 years. And now it's even used in beauty products. This salon has been using it for 8 years.
That's it for this edition. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned to France 24.